From hard times to good times, looking at the Big Boss Man in 1990 to 1993. Today, we're looking at a truly iconic character from the late 80s and early 90s, the Big Boss Man. Portrayed by the very talented Ray Traylor, Big Boss Man would join the WWF in 1988 and right away would become a major player. He was one of the most vicious heels the WWF had during this time. Many were shocked when he put a vicious beating on Hulk Hogan with the nightstick, and he was a character that many fans were genuinely scared of. Him teaming up with Akeem and the Doctor of Style Slick to form the Twin Towers were a dominant tag team. He was a true monster heel, but in 1990 that would all change. We love wrestling just as much as you do, and thank you for taking the time to watch our video today. If you like the video, please be sure to give it a big Boss Man slam on the like button and make sure you subscribe for more wrestling content. Putting right the wrongs. Many people forget just how vicious the Big Boss Man was. He would handcuff the jobbers that he'd defeat on the weekly TV shows and then beat them when they were defenseless. He and Akeem would run roughshod through the tag team division, even feuding with Demolition in 1989. He and Akeem played a pivotal role in the Mega Powers exploding storyline that took over 1989 as well. The point we're trying to make is that the Big Boss Man character we had at the end of 1989 could not have been any more different from the way he would be portrayed just a year later. He did big business taking on Hulk Hogan, but in 1990 he would see the errors of his ways, and after a failed attempt by the $1 Million Man to buy his services to help him with his feud with Jake Roberts, the Big Boss Man would change and become a face.
Big Boss Man now handcuffing Jake the Snake to the top rope. Big Boss Man picks up the bag with Damien and the $1 Million belt. A pat on the back from the Doctor of Style.
By having him defeat Akeem at WrestleMania 6 and also becoming friends with Hulk Hogan and admitting the wrongs that he did, the WWF was very clever in getting fans to forgive the Big Boss Man and embrace him as one of the good guys. We'd love to hear about your memories of the vicious heel version of the Big Boss Man that was around from 1988 to early 1990 in the comments section down below. Bossmans Mama. After he quickly put away Akeem at WrestleMania 6 and would help Hulk Hogan with his troubles with Earthquake, the Big Boss Man would enter into a very entertaining feud with Bobby Heenan and his Heenan family. Bobby Heenan was making all these hilarious jokes about the Big Boss Man's mama on commentary.
You know, I do have news about his mom. And this is good news. This is good news. Well, I think she should be punished for bringing him on this earth.
Who should be punished?
His mother.
Sorry, remarks.
She was the centerfold in a swine week.
She was not.
Maybe it wasn't swine week. Maybe it was just barnyard life. I don't know.
And Big Boss Man vowed that he would take on any member of the Heenan family. This would actually run from 1990 and go all the way up to WrestleMania 7.
Haven't seen the hat the Big Boss Man's mom wears? It's not really a hat. It's just a paper bag she wears over her face.
That weasel Bobby Heenan done my mama wrong.
At the 1991 Royal Rumble, Big Boss Man would take on the Barbarian, which is one hell of a fun match. It's actually a bit of a hidden gem. It's worth noting that Boss Man had lost a lot of weight and got in pretty good shape, and it certainly helped his work in the ring. After his excellent match with Barbarian, his feud with the Heenan family would continue, and at WrestleMania 7, he would get face to face with Mr. Perfect for the Intercontinental Championship. This was another fantastic match, but Boss Man would win by disqualification and thus not win the title. In all honesty, it was a bit of an anticlimactic ending to a feud that had been so much fun. This was a feud that was a ton of fun. Please share what some of your favourite Bobby Heenan Boss Man's Mama jokes were in the comments section down below. Jailhouse Blues. After his feud with the Heenan family, Big Boss Man would float around Primetime Wrestling, Superstars and Wrestling Challenge before entering a new feud with the Mountie. Both of these guys felt that they were the law and order of the WWF, and things would come to a head at SummerSlam in August of 1991. These two guys worked so well together, and Big Boss Man played the hero perfectly.
I I want you gentlemen to do it the Mountie kind of justice. He should be on his hands and knees, talking to the man upstairs, praying to God that he makes it through till tomorrow morning.
This was a very special kind of match. The stipulation was that the loser had to spend the night in a New York City jail. To be fair, while the Big Boss Man would get the win in a very entertaining match, what most people remember about this match are all the skits that came after it, with the Mountie getting taken to and booked into jail. It's fantastic stuff, and it's worth mentioning that the whole pay-per-view of SummerSlam 1991 is a lot of fun and well worth watching. This was the first and last time that the WWF would do a jailhouse match. Please let us know your thoughts and memories of this match. We'd love to read about them. Who's the boss now, Boss Man? After SummerSlam 1991, the Big Boss Man would regularly feature on the weekly WWF TV shows, but he was never really given another engaging storyline, as he had with the Heenan family or the Mountie. He would have a short run with IRS, but it never really took off. Things would take off in the spring of 1992, when mysterious vignettes of a man from Boss Man's past, as a prison officer, would start to air, saying he would get his revenge. This man was Nails, and at the end of May 1992, he'd jump and attack the Big Boss Man in a truly vicious beating that had not been seen on WWF TV since the days the Big Boss Man would do this to people in the 80s.
Man they call Nails.
Who's the boss now?
The WWF played this up big time, and in the WWF magazine, they had a special that showed all the horrific injuries the Boss Man received. He took some time off, but when he returned, he set his sights on Nails, and the two would have a nightstick on a pole match at the 1992 Survivor Series. Despite being one of the main matches on the pay-per-view, it was a very short match that did not live up to expectations. This would be the last meaningful feud the Boss Man would have in the WWF during this run. This was a crazy and violent storyline for the WWF during this time. Let us know your memories of watching the assault on the Boss Man by Nails, and also how you felt the nightstick and the pole match was at the Survivor Series. Hitting the road. After the feud with Nails, Big Boss Man would serve more as a named talent to get over people the WWF thought had potential. He would lose the majority of matches he would have on house shows towards the end of 1992 and into early 1993 against people like Razor Ramon, Yokozuna and Bam Bam Bigelow. He would actually wrestle Bam Bam Bigelow at the 1993 Royal Rumble in what would be his last pay-per-view match in the WWF for many years. After the 1993 Royal Rumble, the Big Boss Man would mostly appear on various house shows for the next few months. He would officially leave the WWF in March 1993. What's interesting about this is that in 1993, the WWF would release WrestleMania the album, and it had Big Boss Man heavily featured on the main song, as well as having a song of his own on the album. He would eventually end up in WCW, where he'd wrestle as The Boss and the Guardian Angel, before settling on Big Bubba Rogers. He'd return to the WWF during the Attitude Era, but he was a heel, wearing what looked like SWAT team gear. Sadly, he would die way too young at 42, but many wrestling fans have very fond memories of all the great matches and feuds he had during his time with the WWF and the WCW. Thank you so much for taking this trip down memory lane with us. The Big Boss Man is truly an icon in the WWF and well worthy of his spot in the Hall of Fame. Please be sure to give the video a like, subscribe, and let us know your memories of the Big Boss Man in the comments section down below.